So, in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, you have a full-on endgame. And in this video, we're going through the build that is the best for endgame. And I say that because I've got a feeling the majority of builds you're going to see, at least before the season comes out, I believe it's dropping in March, the majority of builds you see will be based around the same sort of thing. If we go to my map quickly, I'm Finite Crisis rank 29. And I've just started clearing Mastery level 10 on the different incursion missions. So this one, the highest I've done is 9, but the other two I've done 10. And when it comes to this build, you're going to want to make sure that you are leveling up your invasion level, because when you get, I believe it's level 3, when you get to level 3, you actually have the chance to get Master Loot. And Master Loot is so much more powerful. But if we have a look at Boomerang's main weapon, the primary, the Death Rattle SMG, the standard one's DPS is 1674. I managed to get a master drop. It will just say master before the name of it, or maybe even halfway through the name of the weapon, or gear piece, whatever it is. And you'll see that the DPS goes from 1674 up to 2521, so it's almost 1,000 increase. And the damage per hit itself is like a 400 to 500 increase. So what I am running for my build is I'm running King Shark, and I've got a 3-piece Bane set. And this is going to be the reason you're probably going to see a lot of similar builds, because this is, I believe, at the moment in the game, it's the only 3-piece gear set you can get. So it's known as an infamy set. And basically how this works is each melee hit, providing you have a 3-piece bonus, you have 3 pieces in your loadout, each melee hit on an enemy is going to have a 50% chance to craze the enemy, and it's got a 50% chance to drop grenade ammo. So you can just keep building up your grenades over and over again. And then critical hits on crazed enemies have a 100% chance, so it's a guarantee to spawn a rage zone. This can only happen once every 5 seconds, but when you absorb the rage zone's power, it triggers Bane's Rage, which increases all damage dealt by 100% for 20 seconds, so double damage for 20 seconds. And then with the 3-piece bonus, Bane's Rage now also increases grenade damage by 200%. So you can see where this is going. This is all based on grenades. It increases the grenade damage by 200%, and each enemy killed with a grenade while Bane's Rage is active refreshes Bane's Rage and adds a 33% chance of dropping grenade ammo. So it's grenades over and over and over and over again. You'll see that if we come over to my shield mod, while there are 4 or more crazed enemies within 20 meters of you, you deal 100% more damage and you take 50% less damage. So this shield mod is incredible for damage reduction and dealing extra damage. But then if we look at the other 2 pieces that I've got for Bane's 3-piece, I am using the shotgun. I don't really use this, but if I was to successfully do a critical reload, it stacks Frenzy, and at 3 stacks you unleash a wave of Venom Frenzy. It crazes all enemies within 20 meters of you. It only happens every 45 seconds, and if you fail a crit reload, it removes all the stacks. And then the final one is the grenade. I'm using Chokehold. And there's nothing special about this, it's just a cluster grenade. It deals quite a decent amount of damage, between 18,500 and 20,500. But you'll see that I've got 1.5% shield regen for each enemy that I hit with a grenade. Not kill, I just have to hit them. So basically your grenades over and over and over again. That's all you're doing with this build. You're shooting your weapon because of one thing that we'll talk about in a moment, but you're mainly focusing on grenades. So lots of grenade pickups, lots of grenade damage. And then for a little bit of survivability, you can increase, you can regenerate some shield for each enemy you hit. So over in the slot for the traversal mods, I've got a Poison Ivy piece on. That gives you 50% increased damage dealt to afflicted enemies. That's really, really helpful because you're going to be focusing on Craze. And Craze is going to be, if I stop pressing the wrong button, Craze is going to be applied through the grenades. You'll see underneath where it says Bane 3-piece bonus, you will have Venom Frenzy. Is your grenade and is also your melee, so make sure that you are visiting Poison Ivy in the Hall of Justice to change the affliction on your grenade and your melee over to Venom Frenzy for this build. And then with the neck bomb, nothing special. I've just made sure that I've got the one that gives me 2% shield regen upon critical hit. So that's where the heavy weapon comes in with King Shark. You are going to be spamming bullets at enemies, aiming for their heads, or if it's a tank, you aim at the glowy bit, and every crit gives you 2% of your shield back. So it's incredible for survivability as well. And then when it comes to the lucky charm, I've got the crit coin, because when I successfully crit reload, it increases my crit hit chance by 10% and damage by 30% for 20 seconds, and it stacks up to 5 times, so 50% extra crit chance. And what I've aimed for on the attributes is like nothing in particular really besides the extra damage to crazed enemies, because you're going to be like dealing with a lot of them. And then it's like XP if I'm close to enemies, which I need to be to melee them. If I'm close to them, I get extra damage to them. I've got heavy weapon damage on the shield mod because that helps out with the heavy weapon. Over here on the heavy weapon, I've got crit chance, I've got 20% extra damage, and also 35% firearm damage when the mag's above 50%. Again, shotgun I'm not really using. The melee, I've got 20% damage, I've got 12% damage to brute enemies, and 46% extra damage to crazed enemies. And then you'll see with this melee, the Two Faces Persuader, every melee hit on a crazed enemy has a 50% chance to drop either a live grenade or grenade ammo at the enemy's feet. So again, it's more grenade based. But on top of that, on the Black Mask Bullet Storm, the heavy weapon, each enemy hit with this firearm receives Black Mask's mark. Applying a mark to 3 different enemies within 6 seconds causes all enemies to trigger a fiery explosion that burns nearby enemies. So I'm dealing burn as well, which is really, really good for the traversal mod because of Poison Ivy, and dealing 50% increased damage to afflicted enemies. So this entire thing is based on grenades, and there are so many grenades drop you never really run out. The max with this specific grenade is 3, but you're just going to keep dropping grenades, you're going to keep picking them back up, applying crits when your shield gets a little bit low, making sure you're hitting the crit reloads, which is right at the end of the reload for the heavy weapon, because that's going to give you extra crit chance and extra crit damage. And as I said, this has taken me from very, very low mastery levels up to 10 at the moment, and I'm still pushing to get even higher. And then as you do break into mastery level 10, you're going to move on to tier 2 and tier 3 for Bane. And that's why I said a lot of the builds you see are going to be quite similar. But that's exactly how to set it up. You want to focus on your grenades, your crits, regenerating your shield, and just making sure that your gear's all up together. So that is my best build for the end game in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And that is going to do it for this video. Let me know your thoughts and stuff about builds in this game in the comments. I will see you guys in the next one. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it helped you out. Thank you for watching.